USC beat Iowa 26-21. USC'd out offense Iowa. Iowa, they were able to play this game. This game, as a matter of fact, went the way I expected it to. Iowa had success running the football on USC because everybody has had success running the football against USC. They had 183 on the ground. They got the occasional big play, the put points up on the board. They got a huge 4th-and-1 stop early in this game on defense. And at one point, I was starting to think, damn, maybe I messed up taking USC to win this game. Maybe USC is going to get blown out in the Coliseum. And what made this the kind of game that Iowa was able to feel comfortable being in was the weather conditions mostly, because it was already raining for the last couple of days before this game kicked off. So the field conditions were a little bit slippery for the players. There were some USC players early on that had some issues with the cleats. But I felt once USC was able to get their offense going, they would be able to out-offense Iowa, and that's eventually what happened. Because Iowa, with the brand of football that they play, with how points come at a premium for them, they have to play perfect on offense. They can't afford any costly penalties, any bad turnovers. And USC's defense, although they have struggled against the run this year, they've been really good against the pass, and they've been phenomenal at coming away with big stops and big moments. And USC doesn't have a bad defense. They don't have a great defense either. Their defense is okay. It's good enough, because the strength of USC is their offense. It's the fact that they have two receivers that are like 7'11". They're always open. And Micah Lemon and Jacobe Lane, they catch freaking anything. They're instant offense. You can't guard a single one of these guys in single coverage. Micah Lemon is Puka Nacua 2.0. He should be a future top 10 pick in next year's draft if there's any general manager that has common sense. But you know, common sense isn't always common sense. I don't know why it's called common sense, because common sense would tell you that Micah Lemon and Jacobe Lane, as long as these two brothers are on the field, USC can get right with anybody. And USC doesn't need to fully embrace being a traditional Big Ten team in order to win. You can still win with your style as long as you're able to have reliable defense. And USC's defense is reliable. If next week when they play Oregon, their defense is on the field and they need their defense to win the game for them, I believe that they have the ability to do so. Statistically, you can't judge USC's defense off stats. You have to judge them by what you see on the field, and their defense just finds ways to make big plays in the second half when it matters the most. Against Nebraska, their defense came up big. Now, you can argue the logistics of that game. If Dylan Raiola stays healthy, do they still win or lose? Doesn't really matter. We've seen USC's defense show up in the second half all season long in majority of their games. Now, yes, they have had some games when they just couldn't handle the certain physicality of certain teams like Notre Dame, especially when you have that monster Jeremiah Love, but everybody doesn't have a Jeremiah Love at running back. That dude is special. You know, this USC team is as good as it's ever looked under Lincoln Riley. This USC team is better than the team that Lincoln Riley had in year one. And Lincoln Riley has been super amped up and animated this year for a very good reason. Lincoln Riley has taken this season at USC very personal, because the past 2 years, his reputation took a massive hit. You got him being called soft, people questioning if the Big Ten would just run over his program because they wouldn't be able to handle the physicality of this conference. He's too finesse. You had hot seat talk that was starting to get louder. And it's understandable why Lincoln Riley showed the emotions that he did at the end of this game. I've never seen Lincoln Riley as passionate and as emotional as what he has been this season. Because this season, Lincoln Riley is using it as a statement season. Lincoln Riley now has the USC program that he envisioned when he jumped ship from Oklahoma to LA. Because with the level of recruiting that's in the area, you don't even have to leave your backyard. Talent's already there. And right now, although USC still has some ways to go to being a national championship contender, this season is a step in the right direction. Now, they've had a few games that could have gone the other way, but hey, you can never downplay a win. A win is a win, especially when you're beating a very scrappy team like Iowa. I have a lot of respect for Iowa. Their college football is equivalent to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still find ways to win 8, 9, 10 games every single damn year, despite not having great quarterback play, the offense being abysmal. They went off special teams, dominating the field position battle, and playing great defense. And most teams in college football can't win the way that Iowa has. Iowa is a respectable team. This is a great win for USC, especially considering they're about to play in their Super Bowl this upcoming week against Oregon on the road. And hey, whatever the spread is, I'm taking USC to cover. I'm not saying they'll win, but I'll take them if they're an 8.5, 9.5 point favorite. Because when you got Micah Lemon, Jacobe Lane, you got one of the best quarterbacks in college football that nobody seems to talk about, and Jayden Maiava, I trust USC to win games this year. And I can't say I felt this way about USC over these last couple of years. This is a somewhat complete team. Do they have issues? Do they have holes? Yes, but every team has holes. Ohio State has holes. They just haven't been exposed yet because they haven't gone up against anybody good enough to expose their flaws. There are no such things as perfect teams in college football anymore. With NIL and the transfer portal, it makes it hard to have elite depth on the offensive line, on the defensive line. But one thing that's always consistent about USC, they're going to put points up on offense. And they were able to do that a lot better than Iowa. And that's why I trust them to win this game, but I took Iowa to cover. Iowa was able to make this an ugly game. They were able to make this an Iowa brand of football. Unfortunately, they just couldn't get enough plays out of the passing game in the end to win it. And USC's walking away with the win and a shot at locking up a spot in the college football playoffs as long as they're able to beat Oregon next week.